All right, guys. So welcome back to Spark. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight we have Salaam Green with us. So Salaam is an award-winning poet and author, the 2016 Poet Laureate for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, a co-starters and TEDx speaker, Birmingham alum, social entrepreneur, and daughter of Alabama's Black Belt. As owner and founder of Literary Healing Arts and Red Couch Writers, she can be found helping others write to heal on red couches across the city. She is a New Economy Coalition Climate Solutions Fellow and an advocate for environmental and restorative justice in rural Alabama. A writer and storyteller, her work has appeared in the Birmingham Times, Scalawag, Bust, Feminist Review, Black Youth Project, Elephant Journal, Southern Women's Review, AL.com, Birmingham Arts Journal, and more. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Salaam. Take it away for us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, Haley and Spark and the whole community for having me and for putting on this during our virtual, learning experiences we've been having for the last, 20 years. How long have we been in this whole situation? I am so excited to see everyone here tonight. I love the idea of just showing up and not having to worry about other people, getting other people to whatever it is I'm doing. That is the best part of anything. I think that's how I'm going to live the rest of my life. Just tell me where to be and I'll be, and who needs to be there. I believe we'll get there. Thank you, Haley, once again for the introduction and the bio. So I'm Salaam Green, like she said, and I do a lot of Writing to Heal workshops, as well as a Write to Heal practitioner. I'm an artist in resident at UAB, so many artists of different disciplines and practitioners. We go into the hospital setting and also into the health settings, and what we do is art to help support the healing environment and to bring engaging and enrichment opportunities for people who are in the hospital or in a health environment. And so part of what I do is help support people through creative writing, poetry, and storytelling to begin to help themselves to not only feel better, but also to use their emotions towards whatever they need to do to heal their lives. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Well, I don't even know. We're going to just see what happens. How about that? Everyone knows me, like, okay, let's, do you have a script? How long have you been trying? I think this is the way I process. When someone asks me to do something, think about it, I say yes, and then I start panicking, nervous. What I'm going to do. Then the day beforehand, then I'll prepare. So I figure out like that formula is what is working for me now in my 40s and why I change it, right? Let's have high anxiety all the way to the end when we know there could be something different. I'm one of those people who's a little hypocritical, don't practice what I preach. I should be writing to heal instead of having a lot of anxiety around it. But tonight I'm really excited that you're here, and we're going to be talking about writing and walking, and also how to support ourselves during kind of trying times. I want to kind of tell you a story. Now, I don't have one of those like fancy disclaimers like Spark has, so don't sue me if anything in this, you've already just, claimed that you wouldn't. You signed a little paper away. But this story probably has nothing to do with writing, nothing to do with walking, and nothing to do with healing, which is why it's going to be a great story, right? But when I was a little kid, outside of my bedroom's window was a big oak tree. And my bed was positioned so that I could look out of my window and see that big, sprawling oak tree. And I was always like so happy to see that oak tree. And that oak tree had these really, really muscular branches. And around the trunk of the oak tree was this caged rim that looked like this old piece of wire that attached itself to the trunk of the oak tree. Every day I would run down the concrete steps from our porch, and I would run up to that oak tree, and I would just try to get my 5-year-old body and my arms around that oak tree to hug that oak tree. That oak tree was my friend. I had two brothers, and I was the only girl in a house of a lot of muscles and strength and screaming. And that oak tree was my place of solitude and solace. As I looked outside of my bedroom window, I could see my friend when the sun came up, and I would say goodbye to my friend, the oak tree, when the sun went down. I remember sitting underneath that oak tree in the middle of the fall, and the leaves were a little damp and the dew was just coming up from the ground, and my bottom got wet from the leaves, and I would hear my mom tell me to get up from that oak tree. You're going to be all wet. You're going to have to change your clothes. But it really didn't make any difference to me because I loved that oak tree, and that oak tree was my friend, and those branches seemed to hug me back when I reached my arms up to hug the tree. Later in life, my best friend and I, we would always go around the tree, and we would do little, dances around the tree. And then we would do our little, hand clapping and our hand games around the tree. And me and my real best friend and my oak tree best friend would hang out a whole lot. At 14 years old, I lost my best friend. She committed suicide. Now, at the time, I didn't have any forethought or complete understanding of what that big word suicide meant. All I knew was that she was no longer with us. In the first place that I knew that I needed to go, that I needed to get to, that I needed to reach my arms up to, even as a 14-year-old girl, was that oak tree. And I did just that. That evening, after hearing the news, I ran up to the oak tree and I kneeled down in front of that big oak and bawled my eyes out. You see the oak, the branches, the beautiful leaves that were underneath, the wetness, the dew, held my tears. And it became a safe space, not just for me as a 14-year-old girl, but a safe space for my stories that now are becoming pieces of writing and poetry that I'm using to help others find their own voices or use their own voices to heal their lives. Thank you guys for listening. And that's what I hope we can talk about tonight and do a little sharing. What are the stories? What are the writings? What are the poems? What are the essays? What are the epigraphs? What is it that we can write today to help set ourselves free and begin towards that journey? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to kind of just begin to look at the whole idea of the wonderful healing power of words. I want us to talk a little bit about how we can overcome adversity through verse. Anyone have any adversity going on right now? Oh no, the world's all peaceful and calm, no calamities or anything. I will tell you this, I work as an artist in resident, and some of the work that I do is with so many different places. But today I had a really great statement that I never know, like when I'm working particularly with teens or adolescents, how anything goes. And we're writing poetry. And whenever I walk into a space and say, hey, I'm Salaam Green, I'm a poet, and we're going to write poetry, you know what people do? They fall out of their seats and they began to squirm, and they're like, poetry, what is that? Nobody knows. I don't know how to write a poem. I've never heard of the word poem before. What is that thing? That sounds very odd. Poem. Oh my God, I'm going to die if there's a poem. Oh no, was that a poem? Oh no, not another poem. Poetry. Oh Lord, no. And it's like, okay, we're going to all die together because we're going to write a damn poem today. We're going to get poems, poetry, and death all in one space, and you're going to hate it for the rest of your life. Write the poem. And then in the end, they're like, oh my gosh, I wrote a poem. And I was like, well, if you want to call it that, let's call it a poem. It's got some words and it's in a little form, a verse. But what this wonderful person said to me today was, when I talked about writing, he said to me, writing brings me hope. Writing brings me hope. And I said, that's more than $1 million in the bank to hear that as a teacher. So the healing power of words, overcoming adversity through verse. Mary Oliver's poem says, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? If anything, we have been taught over the last year that one wild and precious life, that's what we all have. And it's up to us to determine what we are going to do with that one wild and precious life. So when I do the Right to Heal workshops, and then we'll talk a little bit about walking as well, one of the first things that I do, and I would just do a disclaimer as well, the Right to Heal workshops is actually a certification facilitated training that I have received from Duke University. Duke University has an integrative medicine program. Part of their integrative medicine, which is, oh, you guys are going to love this, is creative writing. So they have yoga, massage, aromatherapy, and creative writing at Duke. Come on, UAB. We need some in their integrative writing practice. So they are very aware that people who are healing, people who have illnesses, people who have mental illnesses, people who are in need of health and wellness also need art experiences, and also need those art experiences to not just connect to visual art or music, but also creative writing and poetry. So part of their integrative medicine, they have poetry therapists, and they have narrative writers who are trained to be narrative medicine technicians. And so I've got some facilitations underneath my belt. And so anyone who's interested in that can just go to Duke University and look at some of their certifications. And part of that is, when we start off a workshop, we conduct a very safe space for us, or attempt to do that, a braver space for us. So safety is our utmost importance. What is said here is stays here, here, here. Anything we write or share will never be judged. It's only you and yours, and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, because y'all are grown, okay? Grown folks, chill. We don't have to have a hissy fit. Then what we'll next do in the workshop is just get people to kind of check in with each other and kind of talk about their experiences that they're feeling, or name an experience that they're feeling, or something notable that has occurred in the past week. But for us, the first thing that I want us to do tonight, as we're talking about writing to heal, I want to merge the whole idea of, as a Right to Heal practitioner, in defining what really Right to Heal is to just aid you into having intentional, tangible activities that relates to the discipline. And one of the journaling prompts is to ask yourself, what burdens are you carrying? And what burdens have you been carrying for generations? What burdens are you carrying? And what burdens have you been carrying for generations? Now, my dear souls, will you please write with me tonight? I know it says 10 minutes, but let's take about 7 minutes to do something called a fast write. That's where you write whatever comes up, allowed to come out. Write from your heart, write from the seat of your soul. So we're going to take 7 minutes, and we'll come right back. Thank you. Okay, guys, if we can gently come back. You want to gently come to a safe space with your writing, if that's just completing a word or a sentence or punctuation mark, no pressure. Really kind to your mind, sweet to your soul, satisfy your heart wherever you are with your writing. Thank you, dear hearts, for going on that journey with me. What burdens are you carrying? What burdens have you been carrying for generations? What burdens are you carrying? What burdens have you been carrying for generations? I know it's loaded. No, it can be whatever, can be a lot. I don't know if anyone recognized the song that I was playing. It's gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside. And for those who maybe don't recognize that, Negro spiritual, that's what it is, a Negro spiritual. And my grandmother in her long white robe and the choir would sing that song. And so when we think about our burdens, does anyone want to share or reflect on how you felt in writing from those writing prompts? What we like to do in Write to Heal workshops is give options. Oftentimes, as a practitioner, part of writing through trauma or writing through a healing practice, we don't necessarily share the writing. We share the emotion that came up and the reflection of the writing. But once again, we can do whatever it is that anyone feels comfortable doing. So is anyone comfortable with sharing a writing or sharing a reflection on the writing? What emotions came up? Yes, I can. Mr. James, you may go. And if you'd like to write in the chat, you can, or you can unmute yourself and speak to us.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if I would be able to unmute. But so first, I'm like a very visual writer, and so as I write, I like picture the memories that I have in my head, and then I tweak them a little bit. But I can go ahead and read the piece, and I can talk about the emotions I felt as I was writing it.
Perfect.
His emotionless face stared back at me from the end of the bed, the solemn look accompanied by a few tears that fell down his cheeks as he told me that we couldn't continue to date. But I was anywhere but that room. I was at the parking deck where he took me for our first date. I was in his arms in the trunk of his car as he fed me the Chinese food we had ordered. I watched as two souls laughed in conjunction when his hand missed my mouth, hit my chin, sending the food cascading down my chest like water over a rock face. I peered back into reality as his tears had stopped flowing down his face, his red cheeks irritated by the emotions he held. I looked up at him, gave him a kiss, and left the room. So I recently went through a rough breakup, and so that was kind of me reflecting back on that moment and when he told me that we couldn't be together. And during that moment, I was very heartbroken, and I did not react anywhere near as I did in that writing. That's kind of how I wish I reacted. But looking back in the time that I had off, and just I put myself and I told myself to not look at what I missed out on, but what I had. And so like reliving the memories of the good memories of what we've done has really helped me move on from him and overall like be in a better mental health. And I felt really happy reliving those memories.
I'm going to give you a heart. Give you a heart. And anyone else wants to give Mr. James a heart, you can, because his heart is now enveloped in this space through bravery and vulnerability. So thank you, James.
Thank you, guys.
Look at all these hearts you got. I know. It's like, ooh. Thank you. Would one more person perhaps like to either share or their reflection or the emotions on the writing?
I'll share.
Yes, Laura, hi.
Hey, it took me so long to even get started because I couldn't find my notebook, of course.
I don't
You were
know.
going to have us do stuff, and I should have known that.
It's no problem. I
So
get
this
it.
is like the 3-minute version of how much time I had. But I love the part. It moved me very much when you said what burdens do you carry through generations? Because I thought that was kind of where I was the seed that I followed. And this is very short. I carry my mother's sorrows. I carry her need for a savior. Before I was born, she built me to be a warrior, an imagination, delighted, amazed rescuer to cure her sorrow.
Laura, let's give Laura some strength. Let's give her all the strength we have. Let's come on, give her some muscle, guys. You got muscle. Yes, that goes to Laura for her bravery and her strength and her writing.
Thank y'all. Thank you. This is really special, Salaam. I just want to tell you. Okay.
Thank you. You're very special.
I'm muting myself again now. Bye, y'all.
Thank you. So those were brave souls. Those is just an example of what a healing writing workshop. If you're either writing through trauma or writing through any type of healing or emotional writing or what have you would look like. And just a basic writing prompt. Sometimes, of course, the first writing prompt usually wouldn't be that heavy, like, well, what burdens are you carrying, But hey, we can take it. We got this. Yes, it's what I love about doing this writing, particularly with people, is I don't have to pretend when I was teaching in the classroom, like, okay, well, let's not talk about the events of the world. We don't want to get everyone all, we don't want to be political, apolitical, but when I'm working with people, one-on-one, it's like, what's up? It's like, where is your heart and your mind and your soul now? And how are we going to get to that award-winning essay? How are we going to get to that memoir? How are we going to get to that piece of poetry? How are we going to get to that chapbook if we first don't look into the seat of our soul and say, okay, what is some of these things that are coming up that I just need to write out, so that I can find some liberty, so that I can begin to structure the form and the verse of the thing that I can do, that I know I need to do for the world, the academic piece or the publication or the publishing and those kinds of things. So that's kind of one of the things that we do. I want to share something with you because I don't want to just leave us in the space of burdens. Whenever we're doing writing to heal work or using writing to support trauma in our lives, we don't just leave you in the space of trauma and say, oh, peace out, y'all got burdens, all right, take care of those generational curses or blessings or whatever on your own. Nice to hear you. Thank you for telling me your sob story. No, that's violent and abusive, right? That is not at all loving or kind or compassionate or empathetic. The whole reason that I believe we write is so that we can become more empathetic, but we can also help support other people to use empathy as a tool with themselves. So imagine that you're in your home and you have this really pretty little gift box. And this gift box is big enough or small enough to hold all of your burdens, the ones that you carried in today and the ones that you have been carrying for generations. So what you do is you open up the top of this very beautiful gift box and you begin to take each one of those burdens and you gently, with tenderness, place those burdens in the gift box. You take those burdens very tenderly and very gently. You take your eyes and you just kind of gaze over those burdens that you place in that gift box. And you wish those burdens well. Now you take this beautiful top of the gift box and you wrap it back together. You're getting ready to go on a walk. You're going to walk to the riverside. It can be a stream, a lake, a pool, or a puddle, where you're going to find some water. Some water to carry your burdens to. When you get to the water, you're going to sit at the edge of that water. And you're going to open that beautiful top of that beautiful gift box. And you're going to very carefully and with specific compassion take out each one of those burdens. And you're going to place them in your soft hands. You're going to gaze ever so lightly at those burdens, and you're going to watch the wind allow those burdens just to fly away. Sorrow, loneliness, shame, abandonment, responsibility, abuse, guilt, loss of love, joy, career, security, finances, all in the wind. Now they fall into the river, into the water. And you sit there as an angel, just watching the wind carry those burdens to the water. And finally, the water causes those pieces of burdens to disappear. You no longer see those burdens anymore. You're no longer attached to those pieces of paper, to those words. You stand up because you're getting ready to go on another walk. This time you're going to walk away from your burdens. And you're going to take your beautiful gift box. You're going to place it back in your hand. To study war no more. To study war no more. To study those burdens no more. Now, if you choose, or if you can, or if you'd like, you can use that imagery whenever the thought of that burden or the trigger or the memory comes up. No, it's not healing. No, it's not counseling. No, it's not therapy. But it's a technique that you can use through writing, walking, and releasing that might just help support us in the moments of loneliness, sadness, guilt, or shame, or emotions that we don't want to have in that particular moment. Yes, burdens down by the riverside. Go and lay those burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Lay those burdens down by the riverside, my friends. Down by the riverside. So that was our first writing prompt, our first kind of introduction to Writing to Heal, just kind of to show what it means and what it says. This is the process of writing through trauma, the process of writing through healing or through illness. Is to look at a writing prompt that's specific to the person, the individual, or the group. Give a guided meditation. Give some time to do the writing. Give some time to reflect on the writing. Then give some time to take responsibility for their own personal imagery or healing or suggested healing with the writing. Are there any questions about that specific little area that we went through before we move on to our second part of Writing to Heal? You guys did really, really good. You guys are doing so good. Y'all are writing well, listening well. If there aren't any questions, and if you do, please, participation is really good for me. If you want to unmute and just kind of say something, you can. Like I said, we crafted a safer space or a brave space here. So it's just really us in the world. I don't know where no one else is in this world but us. I don't know what they're doing over there. I know what's on TV, no social media. It's just really us. It's just me and you. That's it. That's it. So we can just unmute and say whatever questions we may have.
I'll just share very briefly that since probably was maybe like mid-June, late June, I started doing it. I have the luxury of living close to a river, and almost every single day during this whole goofy time, I've been going down to the river. And I have found it to be, this was very exciting. This exercise was like synchronicitous because I hadn't been there lately because it's been kind of cold. I'm up in Minnesota. But today we had about 39 degrees for a high temperature, and I was able to get down there, and there was a lot that had been percolating, and it was like 2.0 just now. So it was really, really powerful for me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. You said it was synchronicity. Say what that word is again, Richard. I'm in the South. You know, I have a hard time. Say it again. Synchronicity.
Synchronicitous.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I could use my Southern accent if it helps. I've got all family in Alabama, so.
There you go. Look at you. Yes. Richard, beautiful. Down by the river. Richard's down by the river. Oh, yes. I saw someone in chat who said they had a wee something to share. Justin, did you have a wee something to share?
Salam, I just came back from the riverside where I put myself in the river to do the third step in AA. So I left my burdens there. So I just laughed when you put that song on. It was hilarious. It was beautiful. And it's clear you're gifted. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Justine, I'm a prophet. I'm prophetic. You know, yes, throw all the, no, I have no idea who I am, but that is so beautiful. Yes. Yes. Look at you guys down by the riverside. There's something, you know, as creatives and as writers, part of writing to heal is an intuitive practice. And that's why I love it so much, because I spent so much of my time doing scholarly, you know, everyday type of practitioner work. And now looking at an intuitive practice, when you're looking at your writing and looking at supporting other people with writing, it's really, you know, letting go of all that you know and asking for an intuitive guide to help guide you through the different practices to help support others, but also to support yourself as well, because we all need liberty. And that's when I want to read you something. I have this wonderful book. It's called Beneath My Feet, Writers on Walking. So I do something every day and I walk. That's it. Find one exercise that you can do that you like and do it, right? So that's what I do. Sometimes it's hours and hours. Sometimes it's like 20 minutes with my 12-pound belligerent dog, you know, who just I have to pick up, you know, halfway through. And here I am with this little dog walking and everybody's looking like, oh, you know, what's that all about? You know, but this is Beneath My Feet, Writers on Walking by Duncan Minshall. And I love this book because it's all about writing and walking. Who knew that such a thing existed, which of course we all know as writers. But one of the things that Duncan says in this book that is so wonderful that I just, you know, wanted to share with you all and then do some writing prompts from and then kind of move forward from that is the whole idea of isolation. I don't know about you, but as a creative and a writer, I could be isolated. Like this whole thing right now it is difficult, but it's not as difficult. I really isolate and not isolate in a bad way. Just I said, this is who I am. And he writes about, I like to go by myself. One of the most pleasant things in the world is going on a journey, but I like to go by myself. I can enjoy society in a room, but outdoors, nature is company enough for me. I am then never less alone than when I am alone. I cannot see the wit of walking and talking at the same time. When I am in the country, I wish to vegetate like the country. I am not for criticizing hedgerows and black cattle. I go out of town in order to forget the town. There are those who, for this purpose, go to watering places and carry the town with them. I like more elbow room and fewer encumbrances. I like solitude when I give myself up to it for the sake of solitude. The soul of a journey is liberty, perfect liberty, to think, to feel, to do just as one pleases. The soul of a journey is liberty, perfect liberty, perfect liberty. Oh, I want us to write for the next 7 minutes, our last fast write, and then I know it would be time for us to kind of end, and I wanted to show you some more practical definitions of right to heal and walking to write. But I want us to just take we may just do 4 minutes, writing from the prompt of liberty. What does liberty mean to you? Or how do you practice liberty in your life? How do you practice liberty in your life? Or what does liberty mean to you? The chimes will chime us back in. Okay, guys. I know that was quick, but you can journal more, hopefully later, if you would like. I would like to tell you if you're interested in becoming a journal therapist, the International Society for Journaling. Yes, there are journal therapists out there, poetry therapists, poetry facilitators, story therapists as well. So if you're interested in these practices, hop to it. now's the time, yes. I have two doctors, my left leg and my right. Health and salvation can only be found in motion. A walk is only one step away from a story, and every path tells. A walk is only a step away from a story, and every path tells. Liberty. What does liberty mean to you, or how is it manifested in your life? So once again, if anyone would like to share specific from their writing or just a reflection of their writing and emotions that might have come up, joy, happiness, anger, sadness, lonely, shame, fear, adventure, anyone, one person maybe. Yes, Sophia.
Hey,
Hey.
you're one of the most encouraging voices to me as a writer. So I want to
Thank
thank
you.
you for your
Thank
presence.
you.
Liberty is freedom from the tyranny of getting it right. Freedom to fail. Freedom to misspeak. Freedom to collapse, knowing that I am still loved.
Oh, let's give Sophia a hug. Love. Oh, you feel that love, Sophia? Look at all this. Oh, love. Oh, come on in, Sophia. Come in. Come get it. Come get. Yes, get it. Liberty. Anyone else? Burning desire, reflection, or specific? Yes. I like to say I write so that I can try to get myself free. I write for my own freedom. Yes. Liberty is the freedom to love, knowing that love will be. Yes. These are the fast writes that we've gotten back. Yes, Lori. Yes. Come on, Lori. Yes. Lori said she finds wearing a mask very freeing. She wrote in the chat because that means she doesn't have to smile when people ask her to. Yes, come on. The freedom, liberation. We write to get ourselves free, to help free. And I want to say about liberation, part of writing to heal is that we focus on expressive writing. So the whole idea of writing to heal is expressive writing. So you can get a facilitator certificate in expressive writing as well. So expressive writing, and the whole idea of expressive writing is that we don't focus on the details of the writing, but we focus on the emotions that come up as a result of the writing. So when I told the story, yes, Laura, yes, when I told the story about my oak tree, we didn't focus on the details of my friend's suicide, but the emotions, the expression of the oak tree and my experience of my best friend's life. So as you're thinking about as a writer, how do I write about experiences that have been traumatic to me without sharing all those gory details? Because that's really what everybody wants to hear, right? Yes, let me hear about the divorce. Let me hear about the suicide. Let me hear about the time you ran into a car. Let me hear about the drugs. Let me hear about the alcohol. Yes, without talking about all the details. Once you go through a healing process from the trauma, you no longer are attached to the details. You're now attached to the experience of the emotions, which is liberty that you give others. We don't give others details. We give them the liberty that we have ourselves experienced through the freedom of our own writing, which has come as a result of us working through the trauma and the healing experience through journaling, writing, or storytelling. Liberty, yes, give me liberty. So as we end, and to make sure that we have some questions, I just wanted to share a few definitions of some things, then get your questions, and you guys can go to bed. Well, you guys are younger than me. You probably know this to go to bed, but can go on with your day. Let me find it as I share my screen real quick. I know, okay. Okay, so I am doing a writing to heal with people who have a SCI injury, and so a lot are in wheelchairs or homebound anyway, even before all this happened. So we're looking at the whole idea of ableism and the whole idea of ability and ability work and that kind of thing. So This is some of the curriculum that we work on, and this is kind of what the curriculum looks like. During week 1 is where we bring out the whole idea of expressive writing and kind of what expressive writing is. And I told you it's really paying more attention to the thoughts and feelings about events, people, and experience than to the descriptions. Then we think about the whole idea of defining emotional disclosure in your writing. This is writing about the feelings or the experience and inviting all the feelings in, even if negative. So we go into the emotional disclosure. First, we're going to just express ourselves. Now we're going to dive a little bit deeper and go into the disclosure of the writing. And disclosure of the writing means I'm going to invite all the feelings in, especially if negative. This is great because we're not publishing. We're just writing. We're journaling. And we're writing and journaling for ourselves. This is to get us free, or as free as in this moment, or to get this particular thing out. After the emotional disclosure, then we still continue. We go to cognitive appraisal. This is where we start to work on awareness, attention, acceptance, affection, appreciation, and affirmation. So we start working on the whole mindfulness, cognitive appraisal, the mindfulness of the writing. How aware am I of what that particular incident is? How do I give my attention to the emotions, the sadness, the anger, the fear? Then there comes the acceptance. Oh, I really have this particular disability. The affection, that's where I came and I talked to you a little bit about the tenderness and the compassion with your burdens. And the affirmation. And I most definitely can send this to you guys in a better form. After cognitive appraisal, then we move into benefit finding. Hell, if I've gone through anything, please show me where the benefit is in it, right? Come on, guys, where's the benefit? Oh, my Lord, I need to know that. This is what Writing to Heal does. It gives us an opportunity to go a little bit deeper in our emotions, and emotions aren't scary. Emotions are human, normal things. And with our writing to say, here's some benefit finding. This is where I give attention to the present and I look forward to the future by writing about the strengths, not of the incidents, but the strengths of my mind, body, and spirit. We spend a lot of time telling people to kind of write about the experience and to share your experience. But the whole thing about writing away trauma is to now write about the experience of who you are, your strength of your own mind, the strength of your own body, the strength of your own spirit, to walk down to the riverside, to cast those burdens inside the river, to walk away and walk back to where you need to go, to actually buy a journal or get a journal and to actually craft a sentence or a statement, to actually share an emotional disclosure with yourself or with a friend or with a therapist or another person. So we do something called benefit finding. We find the benefit in all of the things we've gone through. And then we do something called legacy writing, or what is called transactional writing. This is where we began to do the things where, like, letter writing to someone who's hurt us, our forgiveness letter to ourselves, those kinds of things. It's just part of the transactional writing that's to someone else. And even transactional could be to ourselves. Sometimes we want to start with transactional writing, but we haven't done any of the expressive writing. We haven't done any of the benefit finding. So we're just going to write a letter, but then it's like, no, let's start with making sure that our emotions have been expressed so that we're in a space of clarity to do that. And then the last thing is the celebration writing, is where you begin to celebrate yourself through writing. Brag on yourself. Brag on yourself. And whenever we do this, we go through the whole expressive writing kind of experiences of the expression of it and those kinds of things as well. But like I said, there are some additional resources. If you're interested in this, we have Duke Integrative Medicine that talks about it. There's also a lot around writing emotional poetry, a lot around about ways to better understand your emotions through writing. Can writing help you heal faster? So there's a whole lot of research around that as well. Very Well Mind is a great space to go about journaling to cope with PTSD or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, any of those things as well. So as a practitioner, these are the type of people and the type of conditions that I work with. And I use this formula that we've done tonight with most of these kinds of conditions and illnesses as well. And science proves that it's the way that we support and heal one another. Yes, down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. And I want to end with something before you do your questions. Few people know how to walk. Few people know how to walk. So I'm going to end with telling you all another story on how to walk, so that when you click off of this Zoom, that you're ready not only to write well, but to walk well. And as you write well and walk well, you can go well into the work that you are called to do. So this is how you walk well, my friends. Keep a regular stride, rising on the balls of the toes and not turning the toes out too much. The correct way to have your feet. How few people know how to walk well. You see, the secret is to let the shoulder opposite to the advancing foot swing well forward at each step. You see, the secret is to let the shoulder opposite to the advancing foot swing well forward at each step. And may each one of you swing well forward at each step as you write to heal on your journey. Thank you guys for listening to me tonight. I know we now may have some questions or comments or anything that has come up. Please, I'm open to hear.
Thank you so much for that, Salaam.
Thank you.
If people wanted to get more of this goodness from you, how would they arrange to work with you or participate in additional workshops, things of that nature?
Yes, you can go. I think in the chat you can see my website is theliteraryhealingarts.com. I have a literary healing arts business where I do writing to heal workshops, as well as one-on-one individual coaching and group workshops with people, and virtual classrooms such as this as well. So if you're interested in booking me or seeing some of my own personal writings or getting more information about me, you can go there as well. You can email me as well. My email is my name @gmail.com, salamgreen@gmail.com. And you can get in contact with me both of those ways as well.
All right, the floor is open for questions. If anyone wants to say anything, ask anything, you're more than welcome to.
I am a compulsive walker, and so I love that idea of, I'm going to definitely get this gentleman's book. I'm like, my dog needs to walk and I do too, so it works out very well.
Yes, I love that, compulsive walker. Absolutely. It's a great book.
Salem, thank you so much. How do we access that information that you were showing on the screen before?
Yes, what I can do is send that to Haley, and then if she has you all's information, she can send it out to you all. So what I'll do is by the end of the week, send that to her in a little format as well.
Yeah.
And then put the resources on there.
Mm-hmm. And I'll make sure that's available via our website and our social medias. So as soon as I get this workshop processed and uploaded and everything like that, you'll be able to go back and watch it, and also be able to access all of her materials.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else? So tomorrow's writing event, we actually have back-to-back workshops. So at 6 p.m. we will have poet Adam Vines, he's the director of the creative writing program over at UAB. He will be on at 6 p.m. and then at 7, yours truly gets to take the stage, and I will run us through a writing workshop. So it will be, it's a generalized workshop that is based off of like sparking inspiration from words themselves, right? So no matter what genre you work in, anything like that, we're gonna have a fun, upbeat, fast-paced workshop. So I'm really excited to be able to present that to you guys. You'll use your same Zoom link that you used to access the course tomorrow night as well. And thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate everyone showing up. And yeah, y'all take care and have a wonderful evening then. Salaam, thank you so much for
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice night.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.